Welcome back, you're here with Nate's Weight and this is Crossbeats Production. So this video I want to show you guys on what plugins I recommend for mastering and what plugins are good for 2017. And some of these plugins are made back when, so sometimes 2014, 2013, even earlier than that, but 2016. But some of these plugins are still very good, and there's some new updated versions which I'll show you as well. But I want to explain to you quickly what is the best plugin or plugins for mastering in 2017 at a good value for money, and just show you guys how I go about my mastering and stuff like that. So without further ado, just hang around and watch this video. So you're back here with Nate's Weight, and this is the plugin mastering sessions. So I'll show you a couple of things that I use, and I'll explain to you why I use them, and I guess the advantage to using these plugins, plus the fact that some of these plugins are quite cheap, and they you know, compared to us, I guess when you're looking at a Waves bundle or things like that, they might come across as a better option in that regard. So first off, one plugin that I want to show you first that is not that cheap, but it does sometimes show itself on special, sometimes every once in a while. And there's two places where you can get this. One obviously is in the UAD hardware, which is an emulation of this, obviously the plugin, which is a hardware unit. The actual hardware unit costs 10 grand, and I don't have the kind of money for that right now, but anybody who does, obviously it's there if they can afford it. But I just wanted to show you this plugin and explain to you kind of how it works and the sort of technical specs behind it. Just give you an overview first and explain to you where you can find it. So first off, where you can find it is the Plugin Alliance website. So if you just go onto the internet, type in Plugin Alliance, and on this site here you'll find their products, and obviously it'll show you a bunch of stuff on there. Just give me a second, I'll just quickly find it for you. So yeah, so there it is there. It's $2.99. I wouldn't probably recommend paying $2.99 for it, but if you're looking at the compressor itself, wait till it comes down on special. It's usually on special every once in a while, and I've seen it for somewhere like $99 even sometimes. I'm pretty sure I purchased mine for around about that price as well. So as I was saying, you can purchase that on the Plugin Alliance website. You can find it there. Otherwise, if you have a UAD, which I use the UAD Apollo Twin. UAD obviously sell this same plugin, and it's on their website as well. So I'll show you how this works and just give you a quick overview of the compressor and explain it to you. So first off, I don't want to make too much of it in depth on how it works because this isn't really the purpose of the video, but I just want to show you briefly. So this is the compressor section here. So basically, if you look at it like that, threshold, attack, release, ratio. This section here is basically EQ and sidechain. That's basically what that four dials there do. Mix parallel compression, your gain, so make up gain, and then the soft clip mode, which is basically a limiter which works to reduce peaks. This button here is a warm function, which basically creates kind of like a tape soundish kind of sound. And then from there, obviously it's just split in two channels, so you can set mid side or stereo, and you can unlink the channels, so channel link and unlink there, and that just allows you to either have the mids on the left and the stereo on the side, or unlink the channels if it's left and right in stereo. So that's basically that compressor there. Just quick overview of that so you guys understand how that works. I actually am going to do another tutorial just on this compressor and explain how it works and how I set things on it when I do mastering, but I just wanted to show you this compressor because this compressor is such a great compressor for mastering, and when I do eventually have the kind of money to facilitate buying the hardware, I'm definitely going to buy hardware for that. By the way, if yeah, either I guess the company for this, Alicia, if they are watching this video, I'm happy for you to donate one for me to trial on the video. I'd love to do that, but anyway, likely the chance of that happening is probably slim to none. So give me a second. Alright, so basically that compressor there is a mastering compressor. So I mean, you can use it for other things, but generally it's for mastering, and that reason is obviously the amount of mastering compression you can use is probably about 2.4, I think it's 2.4 or 3 3 as a ratio, so it doesn't go that high on ratio, which obviously on mastering you're not looking at having high ratios in that regard, but it's obviously a great compressor for that. Another thing to note, it does upscale, so if you're looking sample a bitrate upscale, if you have a bitrate of 48, it will upscale 4 times that to make a higher upscale sample rate, so the compressor can actually facilitate that itself inside of it. And it does that for the reason to increase the sample rate so it's more accurate when it's using the compressor and other features inside this. So just so you know about that. So the next thing I use in mastering, which I don't want to make too much of a big deal about, because most people, if they don't have UAD hardware, and a lot of people don't, and I don't like to go and throw things in people's faces, you know, if they can't afford stuff, then that's fine. You have to work with what you have, and I didn't start with the UAD hardware unit myself either, and it's not the be all and end all, by the way. I'm just saying, like, I use UAD because I can get all the plugins and use them as a unison plugin on the hardware, and I don't have to tie up CPU with my UAD Apollo using most of my plugins. But UAD by far is not the all and end all. There's other things that you can use if you just have a standard, you know, Native Instruments audio interface or a Focusrite or whatever it is. You can definitely use that, and you're going to get some good results. So I don't think that UAD is the king of things here. It's just what I use. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that I use a tape plugin sometimes when I want to get some of that tape sound, and I use that on different things. This isn't so much of a mastering tape processing plugin. It's more of just a general sort of thing where you can use it on different things like instruments, bass, vocals, that kind of thing. They have an Ampex mastering tape plugin, which I'm not going to show you because I don't even have it myself. It's like $300 and something to get it, and I can't validate spending that much money yet when I'm not going to really be seeing that much for the gains. But anyway, nonetheless, so I use tape sometimes. The other thing that I'll just check is the basically Izotope Ozone 6, which is what I use. Now, there's an Izotope Ozone 7, which I'll just show you what that looks like, just so you know. I don't have it. It's a demo that you'll see in a second when it gets up here. Okay, so this is Izotope 7, Ozone 7, which is the most current one right now. It's definitely a good plugin. It has the only thing different on the limiter is the IRC4, which I'll show you in a second how the other one looks. But basically, it has lots of functions here. It's got all these. This is the advanced version, by the way. I demoed it just to see if it was worth upgrading, and at this stage, I kind of haven't. I guess it's not at this point something I need to do yet, but it has lots of different features in here. The dynamic EQ is fantastic if you know how to use that. And if you understand how it works, I can actually do a tutorial on it at some point. I might explain how dynamic EQ works, but right now I don't want to go too much in depth. But anyway, this is the newest one. So if you're looking for it, maybe just a cheap version of this, get the base model of it, which is Ozone 7. It's not advanced. It just looks similar to the Ozone 6 that I just showed you. And I'll just remove that now. So basically, Ozone 6 is what I use, and I use this on mostly all of my tracks to do mastering. So if you're looking for something that's like, I think it's $100 and something brand new, if you're looking for something that does everything you need to do as far as mastering, this is the plugin for you. I wouldn't bother going out of my way to get other Wave stuff or any other product unless you have the kind of money to throw. Like, you know, you can get plugins from where they. So FabFilter makes some fantastic plugins. You can get their mastering suite. It doesn't come out like this. Obviously, it doesn't have it all in one. It's just separate plugins. But as a plugin that has everything in the one plugin, it's fantastic, and you can actually use it in multiple instances if you need to, if you don't want to pay for advanced. And you can pretty much do every single thing you can think of that will help you get your track to the level where it's presentable to the world. So in essence, the things that it comes with is, I'll show you this page. So it has an EQ, an exciter, an imager, a dynamics page, so the compressor, and a post EQ and a maximizer. So these are all set out so that you can basically use them in order or not in order, however you need to use them on the track. And you can definitely, you know, present your track that's feasible for mastering to wherever it needs to go, whether or not that be radio or whatever it is. So I mean, these are the two plugins that I kind of use. I want to do more in-depth tutorial on both of them and explain them to you. But you know, this compressor that comes in this plugin here, it's fantastic. I mean, you could look at it as a multi-band compressor, and you can also take out the bands if you want. You could use it just as a single band compressor, so you just remove all your bands, and there you go, you've got a single band compressor. And if you go to this setting here, you can set a high pass if you want, so that can compress that section if you want, or remove out the low end, or you can have a band tilt like that, so you can tilt the compression so it tilts it, or you can just have none at all and compress all the signal, or you can set it up as a multi-band compressor, which you can see here it's got three other bands, or it's got 4 bands in total for 3 of them I haven't got selected yet, and use them. And it's just such a fantastic thing to be able to isolate, especially if you get a mix that has lots of top end frequencies in it. So let me just show you. Say for example, I had a mix that had lots of high-end frequencies, and I just go about here. You could use this band, solo it, and then get your frequency, get your attack really quick, get a fast kind of release, maybe a 12 millisecond or something like that, and use it sort of like a de-esser in effect, and just de-ess some of that high-end frequency out if you get a high-end kind of really harsh mix. And then just to use a normal compressor on here, and I mean that's a fantastic way to eliminate some of that high-end frequency that would irritate you, and it just works really well. So I mean, these two plugins, I just wanted to do a quick video and show what I normally use for mastering. There are other plugins that are free. For example, this plugin here, which is Nova EQ, made by Tokyo Dawn. It's a fantastic dynamic EQ, and I want to just shout out these guys because it's such a great thing for a free plugin. I mean, other plugins that you can use that do that, you know, Ozone 7 has an advanced version where it has a dynamic EQ, but as a free plugin, this can do a lot. It actually can do the mono, stereo, the stereo side, the actual stereo, so mono and stereo put together, mono on its own, left, right, and it can obviously give you the analysis of that, so you've got that. And you know, like you control, I think it's got another purchase one that you can actually pay for. It's got a couple more bands on it, but you can control a lot on this, enough to get you by at least anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much the plugins that I generally use for mastering. There are other EQs, other compressors that you could use. It's not like, you know, limit yourself to these only, but those are a good starting point for something if you are looking to progress from the basic standard plugins within Studio One. You can most definitely get a mix out of the plugins in Studio One, so don't get this video as me bagging out Studio One plugins, because it's not. I'm just saying that as a third-party sort of plugin, these are the ones that I kind of aim for, and I would recommend to other people that are in a person where that's somebody who doesn't want to spend too much money on their plugins and wants to get a good result. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope that you understand a bit more about what I do behind the scenes with mastering and how I go about it. As I said, I'll do a more in-depth tutorial on the UAD compressor. If you want one of those, I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to have this and explain exactly how it works and go through it all. And then I'll do another in-depth tutorial on Izotope Ozone. This is 6 obviously, but it applies to 5 and 7 if you had those, or if you're looking at buying them. And we'll go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Otherwise, peace.